Hey guys, AniMind here, and today I'm back at you with another speed paint. And this video is going to be a 2 to 3 part series. I haven't yet finished the speed paint at the time that I'm recording this, so I'm not sure how many parts, but it's definitely going to be more than 2 parts, this speed paint. So yeah, so it's going to be a really long topic. So let's get right into the video. So I decided that I would talk about something that I really wanted to talk about for a while now, but really didn't have the video time to do it because this topic is like really long, and that is my storyline. And basically it is just a storyline about all the characters and creatures and animals, hybrids and stuff like that I draw. So most of the stuff that I draw in my speed paints will be part of my storyline if you ever see it in the future, but not necessarily all of them. So most of them, all of the speed paints that I've done so far are all part of my storyline. So yeah. And anyway, so let's start. So my story today, I'm just going to talk about the two characters that set up the story, and then the next video I'm going to talk a bit more about the theme and how the story goes on. So it starts out with Victoria. She is a girl who lives in the 1800s, just after the Roman Empire has fallen, and it's basically in just when the Dark Ages and the medieval time, the medieval time started, and she has in this time frame the Black Death, the disease, and she is also an orphan. So yeah, she's a really unfortunate person. So what happens is she is on the street, as most orphans were at that time, and she is really sick and probably about to die. But she is picked up by a witch named Scarlet. She doesn't know at the time that she is a witch, but Scarlet takes her in and then effectively adopts her and becomes her godmother. And I just want to say, for future reference, I'm just going to talk about the major plot points that happen. I'm not going to really go into detail about what they say and stuff like that. So if you think what I'm saying sounds a little bit rushed, believe me, it's just the major plot points that I'm talking about in the storyline, because I want to be as time efficient as possible in these videos. So yeah, and what happens afterwards is Victoria wakes up in a small cottage. She doesn't know she's in a cottage, but it is a cottage. And this cottage is actually a magical cottage. And only witches and wizards, or normal people even who live there, can see it. For people who don't live there, they just see a broken down cottage with ruins around it. It's almost like how Hogwarts in the Harry Potter series can only be seen by wizards and wizarding children. So yeah, but just you have to live there. So not all magical people can see this house. And yeah, so what happens is Victoria is then cured, and because she was effectively adopted by Scarlet, then Scarlet starts teaching Victoria how to use magic and how to be a witch. So yeah, that's the basic gist of Victoria's story. And first, I just want to go to the next person's storyline. So yeah, the next person, the only other person, is Nigel Brownman, and he lives with his both of his parents, and they are quite wealthy for that age, and they are probably some sort of royal heir connected to some sort of royal family. So yeah, so they're considerably wealthy for their age and time. And Nigel, this is now in the same time period as Scarlett. This happens the same night as the night that Scarlett is adopts Victoria. So just keep that in mind, because there is going to be a little bit of time confusion here. What happens is he finds out by overhearing his parents fighting that he was actually also adopted, and not adopted as in they went to a orphanage. I don't even think orphanages existed in that time, I'm not sure, but rather they found him at their doorstep, and they just basically fight about if they should tell them and when they should tell them and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not really a big plot point why they were arguing. And what happens is Nigel basically gets outraged because his parents never told him that he was an adopted child, which is rightfully so, because yeah, you have the right to know that you're adopted. But yeah, what happens then is suddenly they hear a sound they hear someone knock at the door, and what happens is when his father opens it, no one is there, but there is someone there. They just don't know it, and it's a vampire. And suddenly the vampire attacks both his parents and sucks both their blood out of their bodies. And the thing about vampires is that a vampire has the choice to kill someone or to make them a vampire. If the vampire sucks enough blood out of its victim, then the victim will obviously die. But if the vampire only sucks a little bit of the victim's blood, then the victim will become a vampire. So yeah, what then happens is the neighbors overhear all the ruckus, and then they come to help the Brownman family. But both parents already have died, and the vampire started sucking Nigel's blood. But because there are people, the vampire hears a crowd of people. He jumps out of the window, through the window, and runs away. Nigel, suddenly being a vampire, now also follows instinct, which is a big part of being a vampire. You have to follow your instinct a lot more than you usually would. Also runs out through another window. And what happens is Nigel is now officially an orphan. And yeah, so that's all that I think I'd have time for right now. But yeah, I'll continue in the next video where I finish the mountains and stuff like that. But please leave a like for the video, comment what you think about the storyline so far, and please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye. I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that I didn't upload for a while. I had something that came up, but I will upload more in the following days. So yeah, thank you.